Russian prisons are incredibly harsh, but one facility is much more terrible than the others. Inmates there have killed almost 3,500 people in total. Vladimir Putin has a history of imprisoning his people. Still, if you've committed a particularly heinous crime in Mother Russia, you'll find yourself in the Black Dolphin, where you'll also end up dead. Welcome back to Disturbed World. Our videos are guaranteed to keep you coming back for amazing content. So, let's start with today's video. A look inside a high-security Russian facility holding cannibals and serial killers reveals that inmates are constantly being observed and must remove their blindfolds before leaving their cells. The most severe offenders in the nation, including terrorists, cannibals, and serial murderers, are kept at the maximum security Black Dolphin jail. It's home to over 700 prisoners who've murdered almost 3,500 people, which translates to a terrible average of 5 murders per prisoner. The prison has been in operation since the 1700s and is close to the border with Kazakhstan. It's said to be escape-proof. One of the first in the Orenburg Oblast to accept inmates serving life sentences, the jail is one of the oldest in Russia. Authorities upgraded the prison for the deportation and incarceration of robbers following the defeat of Pugachev's rebellion in 1773. Prisoners are housed in cells with 3 rows of bars, thus confining them inside a tiny cell inside a cell. 2 prisoners are required to share a 50-foot square cell. The prisoner's commanding officer, Lieutenant Denis Avzyuk, stated that murder was the biggest crime committed by convicts, but they also included maniacs, pedophiles, and terrorists. The dolphin sculpture, made by the prisoners themselves and located on the lawn in front of the prison reception, inspired the facility's name. According to a prison commander, the only way out of Black Dolphin is by passing away, because convicts are kept there for life. In the harsh detention facility, inmates are kept under constant camera monitoring. Guards go through the detainees every 15 minutes because of their characteristics. Inmates are ordered to walk with their knees bent as they leave their cells. Black Dolphin is thought to be the only one who uses this method. It's a strategy that allows for maximum control while denying the prisoner access to his immediate surroundings, limiting escape or attack. When they leave their cell, they're also wearing blindfolds. This is being done to prevent inmates from having a thorough grasp of the prison's layout. The exercise consists of walking back and forth in another cell while guards search the inmate cells for contraband. There is no prison yard. Black Dolphin has no cafeteria. Instead, inmates have soup and bread for each of their 4 daily meals in their cells. Only books, newspapers, and radio are permitted. Video from the TV program depicts a prisoner being led down a hallway lined with closed doors while bent over at the waist and holding his hands behind his back. A German shepherd dog being led behind the guy on a short leash howls non-stop. Nikolai Astankov, a prisoner receiving a life sentence for murdering a whole family and setting their bodies ablaze in the woods, said it wasn't worthwhile to dwell on his predicament. If you constantly think about how you are here, what is waiting for you, that you won't ever get free, that you're left here alone, you simply won't make it, he said. The footage reveals that Astankov and his cellmate were awakened every morning at 6. However, they're prohibited from sitting in their beds for the following 16 hours. You are constantly being filmed in your cell, Astankov said. You're being watched around the clock. There are light and motion detectors, plus every 15 minutes a guard goes through the cells, so you must constantly be attentive. Vladimir Nikolaev, another prisoner serving time for cannibalism after killing a guy after a drunken brawl and dragging him into his toilet to hack him up, is one of Russia's most famous murderers. In a video interview, Nikolaev said, "What was I to do? I dragged him to the bathroom, undressed him, and started cutting him apart," he said. Nikolaev gave one of the meats to his friend, who took it home and gave it to his wife. Due to comparisons made by activists to the notorious Soviet gulags, the jail has generated controversy in recent years. Inmates have been known to harm themselves in protest of their living circumstances. Recently, the facility has been compared to a concentration camp run by the Nazis. Prisoners will break down under these circumstances, and all hope will disappear. They resemble robots, but have living hearts instead. They have become accustomed to the fact. In October 2016, a prisoner broke free from Russia's Black Dolphin maximum security facility in the Orenburg area close to the Kazakhstani border for the first time in history. On October 22, 2016, Alexander Alexandrov, 32, who'd been given a 5-year jail term in 2012 for robbery, managed to escape. The Caucasian Shepherd or the Caucasian Ovcharka is the breed most commonly employed as a Russian prison dog, including at Black Dolphin. A remarkable dog, especially in the dangerous high-security prison's difficult, extreme physical and emotional circumstances. This mountain dog has a long life expectancy, is exceptionally hostile against people and unknown predators, and is deceptively bright, independent-minded, massive and powerful. It's a trainable, albeit not readily trainable, guard dog, deserving of respect from prisoners much as other members of the Molosser breed. Despite these characteristics, it is hardly the worst jail in the world. The Carandiru Penitentiary in Brazil, South America, owns specific titles. A bloody prison massacre that left 102 prisoners dead took place in 1992. Additionally, the jail has significant health issues. Nearly 1 in 5 detainees in the prison's health wing had received an HIV diagnosis. Even the mere concept of entering a jail of any type is scary. This should be sufficient to prevent you from ever crossing the line regarding the law. Imagine being imprisoned in a space where your range of motion is severely restricted. There won't be any friends, family, freedom, or prospects. However, there is more to it, and the misery goes on. Institutions in the world will force you to regret every terrible choice you have ever made. Wait till you hear about these worst jails in the world if you thought prisons in movies are gloomy. You could find yourself doing all in your power to stay away from any of these locations. Over 467,000 people are now jailed in Russian prisons. Russia is the top-ranked country in Europe and the 17th place country worldwide regarding the number of convicts per 100,000 people. However, this ratio should only be used as a rough guide because the numbers many nations cite on the number of their inmates are sometimes difficult to verify. The current jail population in Russia is among the lowest in its history, and it has been steadily falling over the past several years. In Russia, there were 893,000 convicts in 2008, which is roughly double as many as there are now. Numerous victims and their attorneys have accused the Russian government of trying to cover up multiple instances of torture and of not bringing charges against correctional officers. The orders follow a statement made by officials in the Irkutsk Oblast area of Russia earlier that procedures in 4 incidents of torture had been abandoned. The number of people that are purportedly impacted is substantially more significant. The number of inmates in Russia is among the highest. The complex system of the Federal Penitentiary Service oversees hundreds of thousands of prisoners. This expanded system is a weapon for maintaining the existing power structure and exerting control over society. Russia is well recognized for its harsh and brutal jail system. When a jail earns the distinction of being among the worst in the world, you know it's on the verge of becoming horrible. The prison system is an excellent illustration of the diseases that also exist in other parts of the Russian state apparatus due to the lack of a significant revamp of the prison service, whose structures and code of conduct date back to the Soviet Gulag. These include a lack of adequate infrastructure, pervasive corruption, a preference for unwritten norms over the rule of law, acceptance of brutal working prison abuse, and the omnipotence of the coercive apparatus. Human rights groups draw attention to Russia's numerous politically motivated criminal prosecutions. The Memorial Human Rights Center's statistics indicate that 195 political and religious prisoners were detained in Russian prisons in 2018. Amnesty International emphasizes that violations of minority rights, free speech limitations, and repression of human rights activists are all too often. That's all for today. If you enjoyed it, click the like button and subscribe to this channel for more.